Okay. Let's again go take you down the memory lane, right? What
Okay.
is the first fantastic problem that Shalini Rao, the young marketer, solved for her for her organization?
Hmm.
What is that first problem that she worked on?
Good Lord. Uh,
सोचना पड़ेगा.
no, I have one or two favorites, but since you
Okay.
say first,
So
uh,
let's begin with the favorite one. Let's go with the favorite one.
I have two favorites.
Sure, why not?
Um, One goes back to actually fairly early in the career. This was Captain Cook when we were launching Captain Cook Atta
Okay.
as an extension of Captain Cook Salt.
Okay.
And we were just not able to crack the message. We were not able to crack the communication. Basically, we were not able to open the market. We couldn't figure out
Sure.
what would make somebody, not in today's day and age. When I say this, people will think I'm crazy because everybody buys packaged data today.
Yeah.
But I'm talking 90, 95, 96.
Correct.
Nobody bought packaged data then,
Correct.
and they
Correct.
didn't want to, and there was a lot of suspicion around it.
Mostly it was
So,
Chucky Atta. So you must be fighting with that
yeah,
Chucky Atta. Yeah.
yeah, and
So
I
every
remember
gully had.
I remember running a communication which actually dissed the Chakki Atta, saying, you put your hand in, it doesn't look good. Oh my God, the kind of negative pushback we got.
Uh,
Uh, for me, I have a learning from that which I've never forgotten, which is
mm,
if you're launching a product, you're bringing something in, do not diss the current alternative. Do
mm,
not. Because
mm.
people have been doing it. You can't tell them that whatever you've been doing so far is wrong.
Is wrong. Correct.
It
Absolutely.
doesn't work. You get defenses up, all of that. Like even as human beings, somebody says, "Acha, this is not right," doesn't work.
Mm,
But I think the problem we solved when we cracked open that business for ourselves a little bit was how to communicate
mm,
the fact that this was a superior product without putting down
mm,
the existing practice.
mm,
And I know that advertising with FCB Ulka then, not FCB then, but Ulka then,
mm.
won us an award for category advertising. And that's, I think, very early days, one of the pieces I'm very proud of because
Mhm.
we went, if I'm not boring you, we went the farmer route. And I don't know,
Okay.
you still find the ad if you go back
Okay.
and see it. We actually personified a farmer who
Okay.
had come home after working at, sending this gehu out to Captain Cook Atta Wale to be precise. And he was
Okay.
really complaining of how they are so irritating, they're particular about the grain, they're particular about the quality, they drove him nuts, etc., etc. So
Mm,
communicating how particular we are about what we pick up and put into the atta,
mm,
and a little bit of a play where his wife actually fools him. He thinks he's eating chakki ka atta, and
mm,
suddenly he spots the pack and he stops and he
mm.
says he stops, and I think the final line I'll never forget it. It's been so many years. Says ठीक है एक रोटी और देना.
Ah, correct. I remember that.
Yeah.
एक रोटी और
So
देना.
we really we broke it open with that.
Okay.
We definitely broke it open with that. So for me, that was one problem.
Okay.
The second one is again close to heart. Both businesses are close to heart actually, is pedigree.
Ah. Okay.
Again, when we were getting people to look at dog food
Ah.
and try and understand how so it was going at a soft, small trajectory. And this I'm talking 2004, 5,
Mm,
my days at Mars and Hyderabad. And again, insight based communication where we kept listening to a bunch of people and they kept saying, how do I know the difference?
mm,
And we knew scientifically and technologically that if you gave a certain kind of dog food,
mm,
just your dog's skin and coat, general health, performance would is far better, right? But
mm,
again, how do
mm.
you diss the current option and how do you present the positive option? It was a similar one, but yet in a very difficult place because your key customer who was eating your product can't talk,
Mm,
right?
mm,
Dogs are not
mm,
going to be able to tell you that I prefer this. And
And they'll never be able to express even in any other way that look, they've loved this food.
No, and also dogs by nature, greedy creatures, will want. I mean, I adore them, but they will give you this soulful look and say, "Give me some more food." So people are thinking, "Oh, they don't like the dog food. That's why they're asking." No, they want the pampering. I mean, they become one of you. So
Correct.
again, we used a very, I think in those days, a very local. We went Hindi for an MNC. I took a lot of convincing to not just follow the global, way we were communicating on healthy skin and coat for dogs. Or I remember the communication was doctors say dogs who have to have healthy skin and coat need to have pedigree. Nobody was buying because they're like, "Haan, theek hai." So we
Correct.
completely flipped it to two friends
Okay.
who one dog was very listless and so Chinky was very unhappy. So it literally went like that.
Hmm.
And so it was a very colloquial, very physicality of the dog. And again, that cracked it
That
open.
worked.
The market grew and how. So yeah, if I were to pick two problems, I think those would be it. The third is another interesting. Sorry, I'm going to give you
Hmm.
three.
No, please go on.
Uh,
Please go on. We need as many examples as possible.
The third is more about the distribution ecosystem, not
Hmm.
and the influencer ecosystem. And I think at my role in Mars and Pedigrees, when I understood how much of a role it plays,
Hmm.
because doctors, veterinarians, right? You will trust them. You will go and say, "अच्छा ये खाना खिलाऊं या नहीं?" And they
Ah.
will say, "No, I don't know." And we realized the "I don't know" came from the fact that most of our veterinarians in those years were not really trained on small animal nutrition. They were all trained on large animal nutrition.
Ah.
Right?
Okay.
Well, they're not. I mean, cows and buffaloes, and
Correct.
that's what they're all trained on. But
Correct.
dogs and what's required is a very
Ah.
different dynamic. So that is where, for the first time, I learned the importance of influencers, and then we started building their knowledge,
Hmm.
not with the view of saying recommend, but with the view of actually enhancing your capability within your clinics, what you had, what you didn't have, putting them through workshops and training and helping them build knowledge that they never came to the table with in the first place.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So another important learning to, but again, commonality on all of them is just talking, listening,
Hmm.
figuring out what is getting in your way. So, which is why problem solving from that perspective always works. People will always hold on to your brand or remember you if you've solved a problem for them.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
you've given
Correct.
them a
Absolutely.
solution that works.
And
That's
those three were really beautiful and detailed examples of how marketing works. I mean, irrespective of physical, digital, it doesn't matter. It's about understanding the problem, thinking of the right solution, and then delivering it the way in which the customer understands it the easiest.
and that delivery is where why I call digital a medium, because that delivery
Yes.
can be physical, can be digital, can be WhatsApp, can be SMS, can be a conference. Then you decide your age old, they used to call it your 360 marketing moments,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Where all you do a day in the life of your consumer and you figure out, okay, where can I influence, where can I make contact? That's
Hmm.
all it is. Then you decide which are the touch points I'm going to influence and how I'm going to
Hmm.
come across. But if you
Hmm.
don't know what you're solving for, if
Hmm.
you don't know what you're putting out there and how it will make a difference in the life of the person that you're trying to sell it to,
Hmm.
then I
Hmm.
think as marketers, you failed. You have
Yeah.
to know that.
Absolutely.
You have to know
Absolutely.
that. And that is the
Absolutely.
only role of a marketer, to figure that out and then convince the rest of the organization that that's what you need to do.
Correct. Correct.